Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of The Agent's Edge. My name is Ryan Polimeni. Today we're going to talk about how to grow your business through acquisitions. Now, I'll tell you right now, acquisitions to me was a completely foreign concept a few years ago because I had such tunnel vision of just, I'm going to build it myself, I'm going to do it myself one by one. And don't get me wrong, we built a phenomenal firm doing it one by one, meaning one client at a time, one marketing strategy at a time. But there comes a point in your business where you have to kind of figure out how to get to the next level. And let me give you an example of what I mean. In our firm right now, we have been working on becoming an internal marketing company, meaning last 7 years of me doing seminars and me doing high-level workshops, that's all been done from a third-party company that has been helping us with that, meaning like they'll do the direct mail campaigns, they'll do online digital marketing, and it's all been great. But the problem is there comes a limit with that too. And how do you grow beyond where you are today? And that's something that our firm had to ask ourselves at the beginning of 2020. And we started going, if we're going to be a $1 billion company, meaning $1 billion in assets under management, and do over $100 million a year in annuities, what do we need? What kind of volume do we need to get to? And you also have to look at it from a cost perspective. So we started going, okay, in order for me to get to a $100 million annuity company, it's going to take about 20 advisors to 25 advisors to do that, going through our system, because we can teach them how to get to 5-10 million, no problem. But what's the cost in marketing to do that, paying a third-party company to give us that marketing? Is it $10,000 a month? Is it $20,000? Is it $50,000 a month? Right? Because you have to think about it. If you're feeding 20 to 25 advisors, high-level production, meaning you got to get them from high net worth people, there's a huge cost to that. I mean, a seminar is $4,000 to run a seminar. So if you do $4,000 times 20 advisors, it's a very expensive way of doing things. So we started going, okay, how do we scale, but do it in a way where we control it? Meaning I can control cost. I like data, right? Because if I do a seminar, I'll give you an example here. I'll break this down simply. If I'm going to do a live seminar and I'm going to use direct mail, I'm going to pay a mail house $4,000. They're going to get the data, and they're going to target market who I want to target, and they're going to send out mail. The problem is I don't get that data. So therefore, I paid $4,000 to hit that data one time. Wouldn't you want that data to control? What if those 4,000 people didn't respond to your mail campaign that one time? But what if it takes on average 7 touch points before someone actually takes action on what you're offering? Now, I've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on doing live seminars and allowing these mail houses to just suck up all of that data. Imagine if you had your hands on that and you could hit that over and over and over again. That's the way that we started thinking about our business. And especially as I got into the federal world, paying other companies to do my marketing towards federal employees, they had the data. I just kept paying them $4,000 every single time to do that. I said, we've got to stop this, because if we're going to scale, we need to be able to have that data to market to over and over and over and over again. We need to be able to grow our database internally to allow us to continue to do that. So I had 2 options. I could start from scratch, or I could buy an existing company that's already doing that. Now, if you know me and you've watched my other 40 plus videos, you know that I'm big on you being very smart with your money. And this goes back to that conversation of, as you build your business, to be frugal and smart with the way that you manage your money. All too often, people go out there, they make $200,000, and they're driving around the $100,000 Range Rover. They got the Rolex. They got all the cute stuff. But if I ask you to cut me a $50,000 check to buy a company, they can't even come up with $50,000 because all their money is going out to the payments on garbage. You have to be different. And that's the way we thought about it. So from 2015, when I started doing seminars and we started actually making a decent living, I never changed my lifestyle. And so for over, 5 years, I just kept stacking and stacking and stacking, because that's what my mentor told me to do. He was like, Ryan, there'll be times for the Ferrari. There'll be times for all the things, the cute things you want. Now is not that time. Now is your investment into your business. You have to start thinking like a business owner and not a salesman. Salespeople are always broke because they're chasing a lead and they have all the cute stuff that they think look good. You have to be different. You have to create space between you and all the other people. And that begins with thinking like a CEO, and thinking like a business person, right? So you got to get this because it's important. So for 5 years, I did nothing but stack money. I had an opportunity in 2019. I was frustrated. I was like, I'm spending all this money on seminars. In order for me to grow to the next level, I either had to double the amount of money I was spending on seminars and go more places around the United States, never see my wife. God, I would get on a plane Monday, come home on Friday. Terrible way to have a living sometimes, especially if you're married and you got kids. It's very difficult. That was becoming more difficult for me, but I was frustrated. I'm like, how do I scale beyond this? There's only so many places I can be in one time. So we started looking for a good lead source that supplemented a lot of my seminars. And in 2019, we found a company. Now remember, this is pre-COVID. Sometimes luck plays a role in how things turn out for you. But when you're in motion and you're engaged in the process, the universe will put those things in front of you. The question is how do you take action on them? So my business partner and I were testing out a couple different lead companies, and we found one we really liked. And it was a company called MyFed University. And what we were doing was we were paying them thousands of dollars a month for them in exchange for them to provide federal leads for us. And I was super excited about it because all right, cool, we have a supplement, and they were actually working. And the unique part about this is the owner of that company said, I don't have leads in North Carolina where you guys live. I have leads in Missouri. Do you want them? And I was like, I'm not going to Missouri. I live in North Carolina. I'm not getting on a plane. He was like, but try doing it over the phone. I was like, it doesn't work. So that was my mindset back then too. Was there's no way I could sell an annuity over the phone. Man, did that change. So, or assets under management or IULs or all that stuff. So I took a shot at it. I said, all right, let me just try this. My business partner and I give a lot of credit to my business partner, Bryant, because he really took the rein on this. So in 90 days, over the phone, we wrote $1.2 million in annuities and a ton of AUM, ton of life insurance, but $1.2 million, I think it was $1.2 million in annuities in 90 days over the phone in Missouri and Illinois. And I was like, whoa, this is something that could really allow us to scale our agency to incredible heights. So we kept doing it. And then luckily in February, remember, we shut down in March. So in February, before everything was happening with the pandemic, I called up the owner of the company. I said, listen, I love the leads. I just need to understand how you're going to allow us to scale. I've got 20 advisors I have to feed. And we're getting enough to keep me and my partner happy. But how can I scale this up to 20 other advisors and make it happen in the next 30 days? He's like, I don't think we can handle that. So the next question was to this. Now, this is where you find opportunities for acquisitions. I had no intention of buying this company, but I said to him, well, what's your business strategy for growing your company, your marketing company? Because if I'm going to drop 20 advisors on you and you can't scale to that level, I have to find somewhere else to go. What's your strategy for growing your business? And he said, we've just been growing it person by person. And really what it comes down to is he didn't have the financial resources or the infrastructure, which is why I talk about infrastructure so important. He didn't have the infrastructure to support scaling his marketing company. And guess what? I did. So I said, listen, this is what I want to do. I flew him out. He's in Georgia. I flew him up to the office on a Saturday. We sat down, me and my business partner and him, we sat down on a Saturday morning, and I drew out my vision for his company. Who does that? I said, this is what we want to do. We want to be able to scale all over the United States. I want to be able to have all of my advisors healthily fed, right, with a lot of leads on top of the seminars that we're doing. This is again not knowing we're getting ready to shut down. We just got lucky. And so I said, this is what we can do to help, this. I said, I would like to buy your company. I would like to take over the company, keep you on, right? Because now you have to make, whenever you're negotiating acquisitions, there are times where it has to be a win-win for everybody. Sometimes you just buy the company, you're off, and you're done, and that person's done. In this situation, I still needed that person because what he offered was a skill set in email marketing and getting through the government servers. I don't know how to do that. So I looked at it, I said, okay, I could take over a company, own it, keep this person on, and dump a bunch of resources in it financially, allow them to also use my staff as a foundation to work off of, to take the workload off of him, delegate it, and scale this thing to new heights. That's exactly what we did. So this is why I say it is so important as you build your agency and you start making money to save money. Because in 2020, I took over that company and spent $300,000 of my own money. $300,000. We went from 75,000 pieces of data when I bought the company to 1.2 million pieces of data in 8 months. I don't even know what the percentage of growth is on that. But not only did we grow the database, we also fed our advisors and allowed us to feed a lot of other people leads all over the United States. He had data in about 7 different states. We had it in all 50 in 8 months. That's the power of you having money in your business account. Could you write a $300,000 check if the opportunity came across your table? And by the way, that $300,000 that I spent the same year in 2020 when COVID hit, I made over $1 million on that deal. That's why I'm pleading with you to be incredibly smart with your money. Don't worry about the cars. Don't worry about looking good with the watches. Don't worry about looking. It's all nonsense. Because to build true wealth is to be ready when an opportunity comes across your table. I was ready. I was prepared. And I was prepared because my mentors taught me how to be smart with my money. My mentor said, I know you're making $500,000 a year, but pretend like you're making 50. And I live like that. I still live like that to this day. I still live on less than $100,000. I pay my salary to myself less than $100,000 a year. That's how I live. Why? Because fast forward, I scaled the company beyond what it was even possible to scale a company. And then here we are, 2001 comes in, we're growing. And I said, we've peaked. I got to do more. We need more verticals. And so this is where we just bought so I'm excited to say this, we just had our first acquisition of 2021. But here's the thing. When you make acquisitions, they have to be for a purpose. They have to fill a gap. Because if you're making it just to buy a company, yeah, you may have some success, but you have to look at, is there a lot of meat on the bone for scalability? If a company is just smoking and you can't really take it to new heights, yeah, you may take over the revenue and things are good, but where's the growth potential? In my Fed University, when I bought that company, it had unlimited potential. We just threw the resources to tap it and make it huge. And now, my Fed University is actually one of the largest education companies for federal employees on the planet. Our brand is so deeply embedded in the federal system that we get leads without even trying anymore. People come to the website, they like our stuff, they listen to our podcasts, our webinars, and they fill out surveys, and it's ridiculous. But that was a result of having the ability to write a check and scale rapidly. It took our business to incredible heights. So then, ironically enough, at the end of 2021, last year, literally a month ago, early December, I sat down with my entire team, and we drew out what 2022 was going to look like, not knowing how we were going to get there, truthfully, because our federal system had been doing good. but we needed more in the federal system to grow it. We needed more expertise. And we set out for a plan. And we said, we want to be able to do this market. We want to work with CPAs this year. We want to work with state employees this year. We want to be able to grow just beyond the federal system. How are we going to do that? And once again, we were working with a third-party company on these other verticals. And I said to the owner of the company, love what you're doing. Tell me your growth plan, because I'm going to give you 20-plus advisors, and I need to know how you're going to be able to handle that. Same conversation. It was like deja vu. He's like, we're doing this. We're losing some advisors. It was a revolving door. And so I said, you're generating by the way, the company that I just bought generates 4,000 leads a month. Let that sink in for a second. 4,000 financial planning leads a month. I'm generating 200-300 in my federal system. They're generating 4,000 between federal, state, and local. Oh, and by the way, and targeted to whoever we want to target. That's the missing link in my business, right? So you have to know in your business what is missing. Where do you have to fill gaps in? I could have hired 2 full-time staff people, which I was in the process of doing, to build our social media presence, to be able to help us get into those markets. But then this guy came along, and I said, dude, I love what you're doing. 4,000 leads a month, and he's got 40-plus advisors on his platform, not our agents, but 40 other advisors on his platform that are buying leads from him, and he's generating them all over the country. And I said, I want your system. I want the company. What is your game plan to grow? And, of course, there's a motivation there because at some point, a marketing company does cap out, and they have 2 options. They can either stay where they are and keep making a couple $100,000 a year in revenue, or they have to pony up and scale through more staff, which then decreases their profit margins because they have to spend more on staff and more expenses. Now they have to go out and find more people to bring into their system. You get the point. What I offered was the foundation already built. The infrastructure already built, the financial resources to be able to dump in to grow more platforms. And so at the end of December, I had a conversation with him. I said, love your company, love to do what you guys are doing. How can we work together? How can I help you build your business? See, I always take a potential acquisition as a way of how can I help you, and I let them tell me all their pain points. Because then you find out if there's somebody who's motivated and open for an acquisition, or if they're just going to be somebody that's going to just, go away. He was motivated. So, talked to him at the end of December, literally the last day, I think it was like New Year's Eve. Flew him to the office from the Midwest, flew him out to the office a week later. Spent the whole day here. That's the beauty of the infrastructure. That's why infrastructure and staff and your office, all these things play such a big role when you have people like that coming to your space. I got to show him the studio. We walked around. I showed him how to build a brand. One of his biggest things is teaching insurance and financial advisors how to build a brand. I said, look at my studio, dude. We're doing it. We're building a brand. We're on YouTube. We're on podcasts. We're writing our books. We're doing all the things you want to do. I already have it done. You don't have to build it. That's why it's so powerful to build your infrastructure. So came, spent the whole day with myself. Every single one of my staff members met him. He got to see what everybody's role is. Spent time with my director of client management. Spent time with my business partner. Talked to my media team. Fell in love with what we were doing. See, we're already in motion. We already have momentum. He's looking to gain momentum. By the end of the day, we had a plan structured on how to improve his company. The following week, the lawyers had drawn everything up, paid a ton of money for the company, completely took it over, brought him and his team in. So now we just gained more powerful assets to our organization. Now everything's internally exclusive. 4,000 leads a month. What did that allow me to do? That allows me to now bring in more financial advisors internally. I don't recruit. The only recruiting I do is internally, and you have to be a financial advisor to work for our firm in Raleigh, in this area. But that allows me now to go out and scale 5 to 10 more advisors inside our internal office and flood them with leads, a never-ending consistent flow of leads. That was the missing link for our firm. The state that we wanted to get into, working with higher net worth physicians, all the things that we had discussed, this person and his company brought all that to the table. I either had to build it myself or we could acquire a business that fills that gap. So what's the gap in your business? Are there things that you can either try to do by yourself, try to figure it all out, or can you find someone that's motivated to work with you and that's willing to partner with you? It doesn't have to be a full acquisition. What if it's a merger? How do you merge your companies? These are all things that you have to be thinking about as a CEO. But again, it goes back to, if I spent $300,000 on the Ferrari that I want, I wouldn't have the $300,000 to do this deal like I just did. See what I'm saying? It's important that you have money and you save money. I know it's going to take some time. I'm not saying everybody's got 300 grand sitting around, but if the deal was $1 million, I could do the deal. Could you? Or are you not being smart with your money? Sometimes you have to finance the deal. You could do owner financing. I'm not going to get into all that stuff right now, but I want you to really see that there's power in what I call growing by multiplication versus addition. Growing by multiplication allows you to grow 10 times faster. Growing by addition is you finding a new staff member that can help you kind of move it along. It's the same way with your book of business. The next step for me is, if we're going to get to $1 billion assets under management company, wealth management firm, we can do it client by client, or I can go buy a firm already doing $100 million. If I buy 10 of those, we're $1 billion firm. What's the difference? What's the difference if I'm $1 billion firm because I bought my way to $1 billion, or if I did it one by one? You want to know what the difference is? Time. It could take me 20 years to build $1 billion RIA one at a time, or I could do it in 5 just by buying my way there. The revenue's the same. What's the difference? So how can you speed up your business? Is it through acquisitions, partnerships, mergers? You got to be thinking differently. See, I know some of you are going, dang, I'm just trying to write a mortgage protection app here. You have to be thinking differently. Your mindset has to be so different. This is where that space that I talk about all the time, to stay in your lane and create space between you and the competition, comes into play. Listen, I hope this has been helpful for you. I just wanted to kind of share a different way of thinking. As a matter of fact, one of the things that we are potentially going to be doing is a masterclass around how to structure these kind of deals, acquisitions, mergers, how to really grow your company to the next level. I talk a lot about this in my coaching program. As a matter of fact, earlier we were just talking about this with a group of people that are in my coaching program on how to structure these things and really look for stuff. So, hope it's been helpful for you. If you like this, please hit the comment and the like button below. Comment. Let us know if you like this or not. Please subscribe. It really helps us with the algorithms with YouTube and allows us to really spread the word amongst a lot of other people in the financial industry. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you on the next episode. If you've ever wanted to learn how to write over $5 million a year in annuity volume, Level Up Advisors Academy was built for you. In this academy, we talk about things like how to do massive annuity production, assets under management, big whole life and IUL cases. Look, 5 years ago, before I built this product, I didn't even know how to spell the word annuity, but a simple system that I learned allowed me to write over $5 million a year in annuity production, and now over $10 million a year. I took what I know, the system that I've built, and I put it into Level Up Advisors Academy for you to be able to have access to it 24/7 on demand. If you've ever want to take your business to the next level, this academy was built for you. Click the link below to get access today. Look forward to working with you in the future.